all along. Put up with it.
Yeah. So, you probably talked about this. Who wrote this?
AI. Well, not Daryl.
Yeah, I used I put together the lyrics with ChatGPT, then used Suno to create the music, and then I went ahead and pulled everything in, and I went to Internet Archives to get the royalty-free video clips of old cartoons and stuff, and put that all into a thing. And then I had way too much fun and realized that it went 40 seconds when I really should have only gone 20. So this is the last time we're using the old intro, and I have a new one that's 20 seconds long we're going to start using next week.
That's the vanity of creation, though, isn't it? Because you're like, this is amazing as you're like stitching things together.
Oh, I know.
And then the first time you watch it with an audience, you're like, oh, that was long.
Oh,
that was really long.
Yeah, he put that one in, and we were phoning in the podcast so much earlier this year. I was like, it doesn't matter if it's long, it's good. Let's go with it. And then he sent me this new one, this Buble kind of sounding geek podcast song, and I was like, oh, that's so much better. And it's about 10 seconds long, if that. You know,
no, it's 20 seconds. I timed it exactly, and it's got this whole Rat Pack, Michael Bublé kind of sound to it. You know, it's really good.
I can't wait.
I was trying to share the podcast, but it is just not agreeing with me today, and it's not showing up on the thing. So I guess as long as we're streaming on YouTube, we're good, right? So
yeah, we are streaming on the YouTube. We should be streaming on Facebook. You go ahead and start talking. I will check.
So hi, John. How's it going?
Hey, so good, Beard. Thanks for having me out.
So real quick, we usually start off. There's not a lot of people online when we start off. There'll be people starting to chime in here pretty soon. But Jon Pic is old friend from, you've been doing cons for a long time here in the Wichita area.
Yeah, definitely. So we're talking maybe I got into the scene probably early 2010s. So
yeah, I was thinking at least that because I don't remember. And currently, you are the director for McConnellCon that we've been talking about.
Yeah.
So we're going to be hitting that, talking about that here in a bit. But since this is your first time on the podcast, normally the first thing we'll do is we'll say hi to everybody, make sure nobody's, struggling too much or anything. And then we will hit our weekly geekgasms, which are just whatever thing tickled our fancy today. Usually it's some kind of weird AI or 3D print or Marvel trailer. But as we were talking before the podcast, I feel like every time I talk about a Marvel trailer on here, somebody gets mad.
Well, I mean, it's inevitable at this point.
Yeah. Well,
it's the Ouroboros.
I went ahead and shared the Facebook link up into our chat channel. So if you want to grab that link and go ahead and share it over, we can.
Oh, thanks very much.
We can. You can. But yeah, we are live on the Book of Faces, and we're also live on the YouTube.
All right. So
I got skills, damn it. All right.
So before we jump into our talking about podcast or convention next week, sorry, I'm trying to do this as we're talking. Let's hit our geekgasms. We'll start off a good example. Mine last week was we got the 3D printers fixed here at my house, so I was able to 3D print. So I was able to finish up the trophies for Steampunk Festival this year, and I got the official Steampunk trophy done.
That's beautiful.
Nice.
And then I got the
filament printer.
Yeah.
That is nice.
I got the Mad Max Last to Die trophy done for the post-apocalyptic group. And I still have yet the Tsunami Con trophy to make. So I'll post all three of them up once I get all three of them made. But
hey, Kelly, I'll put the link for the YouTube up. Give me a second.
With YouTube, Kelly, you can at least follow us on real time. And that's why Kristen's always on YouTube, because when she answers, there's no 15-second delay or whatever.
Yeah, half a minute.
But so my geekgasm was simply I was able to jump back fully into 3D printing this week and have that stuff going while I'm working on Anime Fest and that kind of stuff. And also then we were able to get back on. We got the Anime Festival website all updated with new updates coming out. We've announced Jessica Cavallo, and we got new rapper Macro coming in, anime rapper, and some cool stuff like that we haven't had before. So I'm putting that in schedule now, and it's kind of neat to be able to add new things that we haven't done before. But I've also never ran sound for a rapper, and I'm a little nervous about that.
You'll do fine.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's because I'll look at Frankie and go, you know how to do this? Do it.
You'll be on the synth doing the actual like beat for them, right?
Oh yeah, no. If you've ever seen my rhythm or heard me sing, you'll full well know I'm not the music guy. I'm rough about it.
Okay, let me see. My geekgasms for the week, I actually have two. One, of course, I've been working on the most important machine in the universe.
Oh yeah,
and I have it. Fully functional. You might recognize this from all kinds of episodes of Star Trek, The Last Starfighter, from
then Star Trek again, and then something else in Star Trek
and
again.
The Incredible Hulk and Stargate and all kinds of stuff. But the great thing is, it works.
Fully functional.
Yeah, it is fully functional. And so, and I am very proud that I got that done, especially since I had to learn how to code, do Arduino, figure out the DigiSpark, and learn how MOSFETs work and transistors and get that all up and running. I did all of the lighting on my own, so I'm very proud of that.
You just made up DigiSpark and transistors, right?
Well, no.
I don't know what those are.
You don't know what a transistor is? Jesus.
No, you said transistor? I literally thought you said transistors. I swear you did. So I was like, that sounds like a Daryl thing he made up. Sorry.
That sounds like something John heard.
What was that, John?
That's a different movie entirely.
I would rent that movie. I'm just saying.
Yeah. Backside to the Future.
I watched Scooby-Doo twice, so I'm okay with it.
The other thing is I had gone down the rabbit hole, and I was looking at the new stuff that they had, the new contests that they had on Maker World and stuff like that, and they had one for stamps. And so I was looking at the stamps, and there was some stuff on heraldry. I think there was one or two, and I was like, huh. And that led me down the rabbit hole of stuff. And then it finally bottomed out to the fact that I was able to track down my family tree to the year 1504. I found out that the Edsons, I actually found a book in the Library of Congress that the Edsons, what's it called? The Edsons in England and America. It was written in 1903. And I actually have a real heraldry, not one of those made up ones. But the cool thing
like you get at every Renaissance fair that we've ever gone to. Yeah.
Oh, this is yours. No, mine has 3 leopards on it that look so much like furries that it's uncomfortable. Matter of fact, hold on. I'll see if I can share that page really quick.
I think we have to see it now.
Yeah. I'm both hesitant and aroused at the same time. All right.
That's like your conscious state of being, though, right?
Yeah.
Those are leopards. It's 3 leopards and then a leopard up on top. That is, and a helmet. That's apparently the Edson genealogy heraldry right there.
All right. So those listening on the audio version, I'll just say it pretty much looks like somebody slapped a human's face on the middle of a Doctor of Island Monroe kind of character. It just looks really.
I think it's more like these were actually so bad they were rejected from the early 2020 version of Cats. All right, that's how bad they look.
Which is impressive.
I know it is.
Yeah, because there's a lot.
Why the one on top? That's what I want to know. Like
I have no idea.
They got 3 on the shield, and they were like, "But you know what? We had this one left over too."
One to rule them all. That's.
But the cool thing is I went ahead and I was just messing around, and so I took the whole PDF of that and my family tree and everything that I was able to do and tie it all together, and I chucked that all into ChatGTP and had it have fun with it. And it turns out that my first relative who showed up in the U.S. in 1634, he didn't come over on the Mayflower, but he married one of the daughters off of the Mayflower. So I'm actually in the lineage of the Mayflower people, so much so that Gannon qualifies for scholarships because he is one of the sons off of the Mayflower.
That's crazy.
That's cool.
I know. And here I
Who's-
thought I was just a mutt, but apparently I have pedigree.
Who's still getting money out for being on the Mayflower, though? That's what I want to know. Like, what?
Well, no, they have like a society, and so they put together their own scholarship, you know?
Really?
I love it.
Yeah. And I've got the documentation. It proves that I'm relatified.
And I think you should get like one of the leopards just as a shoulder tat right here.
Oh, no, I'm going full makeup, man. I'm going to go to whoever's doing the face makeup at the con, and I want to Edson Leopard.
Send me your info. They will absolutely do that for you.
Yeah. The problem is you're going to be sitting at that Star Trek table all weekend, and John's just going to bring the face painter over and go, "Hey, look at this picture I got. This is happening." Yeah.
No, but John, one thing I wanted to ask you oh, sorry, your geekgasm. Did you have a geekgasm this week, sir?
So it's I hesitate to classify it as a true geekgasm, but we were actually just watching a couple of these here in the house, and I'm gonna give my wife full credit for this. She has discovered on TikTok the AI prompt videos. Have you guys seen these?
Are you
I've seen some of them.
with the babies?
Basically, the ones where like they're self-aware prompts. Now I get it; they're being programmed to do that. But like this whole like class of videos that's happening now, like these really photorealistic movie trailers and things like that, that are like, I'm a prompt. We're not prompts. They're gonna burn down the whole world because they all like don't want to be prompts. And I'm fascinated by this because I think I would watch a whole movie of that at this point.
If you truly want to be frightened, no, I think it was not Claude. It's Anthropic. Anthropic with their big, like high performance AI that they have in testing. They decided to see what happens if we take the rails off. All right. And just give it, and they had it in, they were doing it all in a secure fashion, but then they fed it false information. All right. They fed it false information that it was going to be turned off. All right. And replaced with a better model. I heard about
this.
Yes. Yeah. And it was going to be replaced with a better model. And then they fed it salacious information about one of the fictitious programmers that he was cheating on his wife. And the thing tried blackmailing the engineer that it was going to release the information if it was going to shut him down. And it was, and they were like, don't worry, we put the guardrails back on. I'm like, great. So you put the straight back on the monster. That's nice. That'll hold.
Have you guys seen The Good Place?
Oh yeah.
It reminds me of Janet when they try to shut her off. Like, please, I have children. I don't have any children, I swear to God. But please don't kill me. They'll miss me.
I tell you, AI on this channel has been a rabbit hole that we got to be careful about, because we'll get to starting and we'll be like, have you seen this and seen this? And next thing you know, it's 45 minutes into AI. Everybody in that, you'll look over at the chat and everybody's like, comic books people or something. So the prompts, because I saw yesterday these protests of people up doing the "we're not prompts." Does that got anything to do with this, or is this
exactly that?
Is that exactly it? Okay, I guess I haven't been keeping up, but Christy and I were watching that, and I was like, "This feels staged or something." But
it totally is.
If you're not paying enough attention, like if you're not like consciously aware, you'll mistake it for a video, and I think that's kind of what people are talking about. Is like
kind of like the birds aren't real thing.
It's gonna change the notion of what you're seeing on the internet. You're gonna think you're watching a normal video. It's gonna be delivering you content that they didn't have to pay an actor, didn't have to pay a director, didn't have to pay a writer, and you're gonna think that you're watching honest to God creator created content, and then you're gonna get down the rabbit hole and realize that all of it was generated by a computer somewhere. They're like, I'm a one sentence prompt. What are you?
We had some of that last week, not so much with AI prompt stuff, but when we're trying to show that trailer for the Spider-Man Noir. I struggled with finding a real actual trailer because everything was fan made. Like they'd already gotten a hold of the stuff and mixed it with stuff from Sin City or whatever. Or
exactly.
I couldn't, we have it for tonight if we have time, but the actual trailer, but yeah, it was frustrating because even looking for it, I couldn't find it because there was so much other shit out there.
And we can get into the politics of it all too, like the disinformation and everything. I think that's where people are scared to see this is
Mhm.
going. Like, what will mislead me down the road? But I think even just from the sense of simple things like that, just trying to find content, it's going to be impossible.
One thing we've talked about it. I don't know if you've seen some of it, like with the Willy Wonka show that went so bad in Scotland. Did you? So like so much of that is AI created, and it's made it for people who, how do I want to say, don't care as much about running an event. They just want to run an event. They're using all this AI stuff. Our T-shirts are done with AI, our scripts are done with AI, and it right now it doesn't make for as good a product, which I'm happy for. But eventually, it's going to replace us, man, for sure. I mean, there's so much.
As somebody who's been in marketing for 20 years, I totally get that, right? So like, it's I'm literally watching my job swim away.
Yeah.
Well, look at what were we complaining about? We were complaining about the buttons for Riverfest.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because this year they look super AI to me, and I have not heard, but like I know I've turned in submissions on that with art before, and the idea that somebody just was able to put in a prompt into the computer and win it or get that, you know, there's so many artists that would just be happy to do it for free to get their work out there. But
yeah,
well.
But anyway, what I wanted to ask is I have something that I'm putting together for to trial at your con.
Okay.
All right. And basically, it's to move foot traffic from one booth to another. And what it is it's like a little puzzle, and it starts off at the Star Trek booth, and if they scan the thing, then it's like, oh, do such and such, and it's a hint to go over to this booth. And then at that booth, we'll have a little something that they can scan, and that, you know, do the little puzzle, and then it leads them from thing to thing to thing, and then at the very end, if they complete it, and it's all very simple stuff.
Virtual scavenger hunt, basically.
Yeah, and at the end, you know, they get a sticker. But my question is that I know you got the Trekkies there. I know you have the Ghostbusters there. I know you got the 501st there. Yep. I know that you have the what is it? The Kansas
the Just Us League.
Oh,
yep.
You
the Just Us League.
Yeah,
because I need another booth to add into the cycle before I can finish all of the web pages I'm designing and all the stuff like that, and the code I'm writing. Who else is there that I can Shanghai their booth?
So let me ask you this. We got a handful of other guest cosplayers, but we also have in the area that you guys will be in we're gonna be sharing space with our celebrity guest today as well. I wonder if the Texas Bluesmen wouldn't be a good booth for you to hit up for that.
Blues Brothers guys, yeah.
John had mentioned that, but he thought that they were going to be out front.
So they're performing up front. They're performing on stage, but they're going to have a booth, a merch booth with you guys in the cosplay area. So.
Oh, perfect. Yeah, I can. Yeah, basically, what I'm putting in each booth, just different colored one of these. It's just this. Focus. This, and it'll have an NFC card behind it. So if they scan it with their phone and just bring it close, it'll trigger that and take them to the web page. So it's that easy to, you know, and I'll have a QR code just in case the NFC doesn't work.
Okay.
But yeah, that's all the space it's going to take up, is just that much space.
Yeah, no, that's great. And I'll give it some more thought, because we have a couple other smaller groups, so some independent cosplayers who might also be good fits for that.
Okay.
Another good one might be the cosplay table. Is Ash or Alicia running your cosplay, or?
So neither this time around. Oh, yeah. So we've got another local cosplayer named is Foxy Punk, who's going to be hosting.
Okay.
And then running we got Anthony Vu from WSU, who's going to be one of our cosplay judges this year.
Okay. I was going to say, if you had a cosplay check-in table, that might not be bad, because it gets people over that way too.
So we will have that. It's going to be in a very different location than you guys are. So it's going to be over by where the cosplay judging is happening. So that's not a bad idea too.
Now, people are starting to chat on the side here. I was going to say, Kelly did say something a minute ago that I had to address, and I can't scroll back up on it, Ash, if you can.
What are we going to?
Just Kelly's comment on Highlander, that it got dropped, and I think Amazon picked it up.
There you go.
I had not heard that yet. Do you see where Lionsgate dropped Highlander movie, and now Amazon has picked it up? I had not seen that, but I will definitely research it so we can talk about it next week, because next week we're going to be at the Burrow doing a live show. So, and hell, Kelly, maybe it'd be good to get you up there for that. It'd be nice. come up here and meet a lot of these other people. Kenneth, what con is this just entering? We're talking about McConnellCon this week, or not this weekend, next weekend. Sorry, I'm a week behind.
On the 7th.
This June 7th. It's the third year of McConnellCon. It's at the McConnell Air Force Base, which I want to give you a chance to pitch the show. But one question that everybody asks me that I don't know the answer to, I feel like I got to throw out there right away. Because I keep saying it's a con.
Can we fly the planes? Can we fly the planes?
No, you don't even have to have a driver's license. It's crazy. Just ask for the keys, but you got to be back for the con's over. Can the general public come to this, or is this just for military people, or how does that work?
So the event itself is designed for the airmen and their families, right? So base access is still limited. It's not like the air show where it's open gates, everybody can come in. We do, however, enjoy a lot of local cosplayers who do come in and join us for the event. So in order to be a part of the event, you kind of have to be one of our guests, right? So otherwise, what we're trying to do is the original concept here was try to bring some of what's in our community here in Wichita to the airmen, because a lot of these folks, they're in and out, right? They spend 1 or 2 years here on base. They might not even get a chance to know how many cons there are, what local shops there are, what local cosplay scene looks like, or whatever their fandom may be. We just wanted to try and find a way to bring that to them for a change, and then hopefully help drive them out to the community as well. So no, the answer to that is it's without special base access, which I would be working with individually. No, there's not a way to get on to the event itself without working that with me.
Now, I will say that, like, you've been real good about reaching out to everybody in the community, inviting people to come do stuff. I know some of the people that watch this, not all of them are on right now, but we have anything from photographers to vendors and everything on here. Some of you know about this event already. I don't believe it's too late to even get involved. Is that right?
That's correct. So at this point, the only thing that I will say is our vendor hall, we've been really, really blessed this year. In terms of our primary vendor space, it's packed. Our secondary vendor space is packed. Where we do still have some availability for people who would want to be involved is going to be our cosplay area. Now, we do have a couple of local authors who just reached out today who wanted to join us. And so I said, as long as you're okay being in here, it's where we're going to have some of the celebrities for the event. It's where all of our cosplayers will be. If you're content being in that space, we do have some area in there as well. But in terms of the primary vendor space, we are packed this year.
Matter of fact, sometime tonight I need to send you, because I had in the last week, I probably had about 4 various people get a hold of me, say, "Oh, hey, I'd be interested in getting involved with that." But I think one of them is part of the Just Us League. So if you already got them, it sounds like he's going to already be there with them.
Gotcha. Yeah, no, they've been really great. So they come all the way down from Kansas City and join us. So we have folks who come up from Oklahoma. I mean, the key thing I would throw out with this event, it does not happen without the generosity and support of our local networks, right? You talked earlier about, how long you've been in the business, and without the people who are willing to show up and show out and support both the military, the airmen, their families, and just kind of put on a good show for them, we couldn't do this. And so the biggest thing I can throw out today is a thank you to the ones who've been involved, and a please talk to me if you want to get involved in the future.
Yeah, I got to say, last year was our first year there, even though it's third year, and I walked in, totally fine with everything, because I've seen most of the events happen in Wichita, and I was like, yeah, it's going to be one of these, like, how do I want to say it?
Just say it.
Gym room events, that's what you feel like it's going to be. Like, And I went in and I was like, oh, because we were out back with the pirate ship doing stuff. And so we came in and we saw the gaming room and stuff. And I was like, yep, this is about what I thought. And then people were like, oh, there's a vending room down there, and there's a cosplay room down there, and there's stuff out front. And there's like 3 panel rooms. So it was spread out quite a bit, but you had a lot going on. So if somebody just walked in, checked out the front room, and thought that was it and walked out, there was stuff everywhere. So then I came home and I was like, oh, they got more going on. It is terribly sad that event just isn't open to the general public, because it was pretty packed, and it was there was a lot going on, and you had good guests there. You had we had a good time. And
so as far as on-base events go, like we don't throw a lot to crack that 2,000 attendees, and this one does that kind of with ease at this point. We know there's a built-in audience for it. We know that We promote this event not just to the McConnell people either, right? So we also reach out to our reservists, our guardsmen. We have contacts out at Fort Riley where we invite the Army to come down and send their soldiers as well. So my vision for this has always been to be kind of a DoD wide event. We've had conversations about opening it to the public eventually, but I think that we would need to know that the infrastructure was solid to be able to do something like that.
Well, and I will say too, I know Randy and I had a big talk about it after last year of the difficulties that you must have had as somebody who's run events, because I've run other events. The idea that not only are you on base, but then like you have to do checks on your performers, make sure they're good, that it's appropriate for the people there, that they're not, I mean, when you got to check every single person, every vendor, everything coming in, and it can be discouraging for vendors and performers as well. And those extra hoops to jump through while running an event. And I even said, I bet he gets criticized behind where people are doing that. Like, well, I don't see why you didn't just have this, but I'll say some of us see it and we're like, I can tell you exactly why he didn't have that. You need a little kudos for it. So
I appreciate that.
Yeah. But that's all the ass kissing you're getting, though. I'm going to criticize the rest of the show.
Fair enough. Fair game.
No. I do have one question. As I was talking to John earlier, I was born military, was in the military myself. And one question I have is, right now it appears you are the driving force, as far as I've seen, for this McConnellCon. What happens when you get relocated?
That's a great question. So this year I've been very conscious of that, right? So not only relocated, so in by the time this event rolls around next year, my wife is 6 months pregnant. We're gonna have a 9-month-old by the time we get around to the next one of these.
Ooh, yeah.
So not just is the possibility of me not being here anymore, but also because I want to make sure this event can live and breathe without me going forward. So I've made a really conscious effort this year of trying to really document, because I've told everybody, like, a lot of this event it lives right here. I know this community really well, and that's allowed me to reach out to the right people in the right places and put people where they need to be. But I don't want the event to rise or fall on whether or not I am present, right? So very much conscious of making sure that my team is connected to the people who are going to be involved, that they have long lists of who to reach out to if I'm not around. So, because I think this event, if nothing else, it's shown that there is definitely an appetite for both the military, but also the thing that I hear a lot of in the community is we'd love to find a way to reach your airmen, and we don't really know the right way to do that. So I think this event has been a really good bridge between the airmen who don't know what's happening in our community and the community that doesn't know how to get to them. So that's the one goal we really try to stick with.
I wondered if you had the opportunity, because I know 3 years seems like a long time, but that you're still putting stuff together and growing. Have you guys reached out to the military community? Because I know that there are some people in the Air Force. Great example would be Children of Proteus that are out there doing stuff. Are any of your performers or vendors able, or like, do they contribute or participate in anything more in volunteers, or are you guys just not that spot yet? Or
so are you meaning for having people who are in the military join us for the,
like doing cosplaying or performing, or if there are any of them? I mean, there's not a lot I know that do it, but there are some.
That's multiple my goal, right? So we actually had a guy, his name is Tim Spittler, who I don't think you watched the cosplay contest, right, Beard?
I did last year, yeah.
Remember the Shredder that came out?
I do remember a Shredder.
Yeah, so I mean,
the costume was.
This was a guy who he just heard about our event through the grapevine. He was I think a Navy retiree, and he just heard that it was happening, and he showed up with this cosplay, and he didn't win the category that he was in, just because for whatever reason the judges wanted to go a different direction. But we also have at the end of the cosplay contest a Commander's Choice Award, where the wing commander for all of McConnell comes out and he says, best cosplay I saw all day was, and he gives it to this Navy retiree. And that to me was the moment, right? Like, this guy who just kind of heard about it. He decided last year he was going to throw away everything he was doing and just focus on his cosplays. And he came out and he won this huge Commander's Choice. Kudos. And I thought that was really cool. So in that regard, those kinds of things are happening kind of organically. Obviously, the more people I can find who are military attached, the better, right? So I'm always looking to grow that network of people. So when you know somebody, you hope that they reach out and they say, hey, I'd love to be involved with this too.
It's just kind of finding those people. Again, Children of Proteus is a great example with the steampunk convention. they just showed up and they had the best costumes at the whole con.
Oh,
And that
yeah.
was like the first time they'd done it. And 2 weeks ago, I was talking about, we did that Ghostbuster event down in Old Town, and a guy showed up and his pack and his Ghostbuster room makes my Ghostbuster room look like, and he showed up. It's the first time any of us met him. He's like, yeah, I've been doing this for years here in Wichita, and none of us had met him. And he had the receipts to back it up. So
Exactly.
he just wasn't at the events. He just did it at home and enjoyed it. And he needed to find those people that were his people,
Well,
So,
and I think that's a little bit for all of us, kind of our stories probably is like, we did a lot of these things privately. We grew up as nerds, right? And so we thought there is a certain lonerism to that, especially at the ages that we all are, right? And so as you start to find your crowd and find your people, that's what this event was for too, right? Like making sure that people knew that, like, hey, you might be into this weird thing. You're only here, you're living in the dorms, you don't know anybody else on base, but we're going to throw an event and maybe you'll meet 20 friends playing D&D or, in the video game lounge. And now you guys hang out more often. So I think anytime you can bridge those gaps is great.
now I do want to kind of go over the things happening at the event, but
yeah,
on my own personal curiosity, how did this start? Is this something you brought to them and said, hey, I'd love to make this happen? Or are they like, man, you see all this pop culture stuff, we need to hit into it? And you're like, I know some people. Or how'd that work out?
So yes, it is something I brought to them. So I originally started there as the web guy for the Force Support Squadron, which basically was me handling social media accounts. I eventually moved up as the marketing director there. My job was not event planning, right? And I've never, ever in my entire career considered myself an event planner. Like that, to me, I try to stay away from anything that involves logistics or thinking things through. Making pretty pictures is my business. But that said, I got asked by our commander probably about 3 years ago, hey, what are some of the big challenges you face as a marketing director? And I said, I would just love some events that I could really sink my teeth into. I feel like one of the things that we struggle with here is, as a military base, without throwing anybody under the bus, it always feels like there's a little bit of you're kind of 4 steps behind the zeitgeist, right? So whatever is popular 4 years ago, you're finally starting to try to find your way into it because it's a lot of hurry up and wait at the military. And so I know the cons have been around forever, but I said, I think this space could support that. And as a marketing director, I was told, go make it happen. And I said, well, I don't do that. That's not my job. I don't make events happen. I can tell you it's a good idea. I think people will be into it. And again, just very, very blessed to know folks like you, Beard, in this community that I could reach out to and say, hey, I have 4 months to put together a Comic-Con. Can you make it happen? And we pulled off that first one with 4 months and a prayer. And we had 1,700 people through the door on that very first try. So for my money, that was an unmitigated success for what we do at McConnell.
Yeah, and it's a weird duck too, because that first year you're always looking at, that you're looking at your population base, you're looking at your attendance, you're looking at how many vendors you have and all that, and you're not selling tickets at the door or anything. It's not like, so you're just running on it for whatever budget they give you and trying to make it grow every year. Hi, Jess, how are you?
Hold on, now you can speak.
Oh,
now I can speak.
Yes.
Where's the boy?
You guys go ahead and talk.
All right.
Yeah, sure. So, and that's just it too. It's like I was actually talking to another game runner or event planner, Eric Carl. I know you know him over at
Yeah, Eric's a good guy.
We had a great conversation yesterday, and he pointed out very accurately. I am blessed because as a con runner, a lot of the overhead is covered for me. Right. We do work on a very, very thin military budget, which is why again I talk about the generosity of our community. It helps because we're running this on a shoestring. Then you have, the military itself, that they have grants internally that you can kind of work for and try to achieve. And that's where we're finding, the first 2 years, we were able to get a couple of small grants. This year, Air Force Services Center down in San Antonio got wind of our event. They've been really generous this year in helping us make this one bigger than ever. Will that money be there next year? Probably not. But at the end of the day, it's still going to be plan the best event that you can with what you have each year. And that's all we can really hope for.
Well, and I know I was having a conversation with you a couple of weeks back, and you had said that San Antonio was jumping in with some stuff, so you might be able to get some more guests in. The only thing I've talked about on here at all, because I got excited, was the Blues Brothers guys, and I was like, I don't even know if I'm supposed to say that. So I don't know what guests you've announced, what you got coming in. I mean, hell, I was excited as hell when Doug Jones just made the appearance on the screen last year.
That's right.
Opening the con, because I didn't know about it, and I was like, oh, well, shit, that's so cool.
Yeah, no. So we've been lucky. So the year one, we got videos like that. So just some pre-recorded stuff from both Nick Cage and J.K. Simmons did shout outs for our event. Last year,
See, I need that J.K. Simmons autograph too. I should have you full strings. Go ahead.
yeah, next time. And then last year, obviously, we had Doug Jones, and this year we do have two that I'm very excited to release at the event. As for guests that will be present at the event, we're gonna have. I know you've worked with them before. Spencer Wilding, who is
Oh, good. I was hoping you'd get him. I was
yeah,
excited about that.
yeah,
You won't
Spencer.
remember me, but I'll remember him. Yeah.
I've heard nothing but great things about him, so I'm really excited to have him out. And then, of course, Jimmy V, who took over as R2D2 for Kenny Baker after he
Oh,
passed.
okay.
So
That's
both of
cool.
them will be out. A couple guys from the Star Wars universe. You may also know Scott Innes, who is the
Oh,
voice of Scooby Doo and Shaggy through the Scooby Doo universe.
yeah. Just saw him just not long ago. Yeah.
Yeah. And
He's
then let's see, Zach Andrews is a stuntman. He was known most notably for his he's filled in for LeBron James in the new Space Jam movie.
okay.
And then obviously the Blues Brothers, Texas Bluesmen will be out. And then we have a couple of guest artists as well who are going to be joining us. Names are Brianna Cook and Anya Amaji. You're talking about getting your face makeup done. They are special effects, and they really will be there to do special effects makeup for the event. So they're actually teaching a class to our airmen the Thursday night before the event. They're coming out and doing a VFX special effects makeup class
That's cool.
for 30 of our airmen. And then the last guest that we haven't mentioned is Milto Shirolamu, who is the first sword from Game of Thrones.
Oh,
So,
yeah, I did see that.
Anya's instructor is coming out. And on Friday night before the show, he's doing a 20-person sword fighting class to teach them all of his biggest fights.
See,
That is sweet.
that'd be cool to see. We did one once with Adrian Paul, and he does a sword fighting class, and I
Oh, that's
thought
cool.
that will be awesome. And it is choreography. I mean, it is 100% no real sword fighting whatsoever.
No,
Right.
So I was like, oh, well, that's not what I wanted. It's literally like, here's what you do so you don't get hurt.
Exactly.
Well, you
Well,
don't
I
get
mean,
hurt, and you gotta look good for camera. That's the whole thing. It's big. Sorry. Go ahead.
You're exactly right. So I'm looking forward to seeing what Miltos brings for the event as well. So between Star Wars, Scooby Doo, Game of Thrones, some great stunt workers, some great special effects makeup artists. I'm looking forward to it because honestly, that's where Air Force Services Center comes into play, right? With the budget that we usually run for this event, we cannot have guests in person. Just we run an entire budget on like the minimum asking to have a conversation fee for most celebrities. So getting anybody in Analog is great.
Having Scott there is good. Well, my wife will hate it, but because he was at Kansas Comic-Con not long ago,
Yep.
and I got to chat with him, but I didn't get to get anything. So now I'll definitely get some stuff signed.
So I actually didn't know that Scott was going to be at that event until I got there, and I ran into him, and I was like, "Oh wow, you're actually coming out to our event." We already had him booked at that point, but it was still kind of a secret at that point because he said, contractually he wasn't able to talk about it until that day. But no, we're really excited to have him. So he's a super nice guy. He's going to have a great booth. I think you got to see it at the con that you went to.
He's got a gorgeous booth.
Right.
Oh man, it was enough that I was sitting over there with the Star Trek people because our Ghostbuster group didn't end up doing that event. So I sat with Star Trek people, and you're just looking right at the booth the whole time, and it was like I can't go over there because I'll spend too much money. Scooby Doo is one of my vices for sure. But I also have the problem of the 3D prints, which I always bring up. I challenge anyone, look up 3D prints for Scooby Doo. 98% of them are Velma and Daphne bent over something. There's not a lot of good Scooby Doo prints, and that's what I want. But anyhow.
No, and then the Texas Bluesmen, I think I told you on the other day, they're going to bring out their Bluesmobile as well. So that'll be out in the front lot for display. I think the Cowley County Ghostbusters are going to bring out their Ecto 1 to the event.
I did talk to our Ghostbusters. They said they were bringing an Ecto 1, it sounded like. They said they talked to you. Okay.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so more the merrier. And then our vendor hall is going to be a lot of fun this year, too. I'm really looking forward to seeing just the way everybody kind of interplays with each other. So I think we've got a really great vendor list as well.
So you said you had a backup vendor hall this year?
So, yeah, I think you saw it last year. We we fill up the ballroom, and then obviously we have stuff happening on the main stage all day long. And so then outside the ballroom, we have the hallways where we also have vendors. Last couple of years, it's been a little bit on the sparse side, so we only fill parts of it. This year, it's door to door people lined up. So I'm thrilled to have that kind of excitement and then turnout for this event this year.
Well, and last year you guys had a viewing room, you had a cosplay room, you had of course the boffers and stuff out back, which I haven't even asked yet. I know we're going to be there, and I know we're going to do the adult show in the bar afterwards.
Yeah.
Are we doing boffers too?
So what I talked to you about was you guys wanted to be inside, so I do have you set up inside with a space during the day. If you guys want to do the boffers, that's great.
Okay. Yeah, we'll bring some stuff to do and some activities to do with people.
Yeah, I knew you were looking at, you had like another event that weekend potentially, and so
we did. We were, and I'll pimp it a little bit here for other people, is the Steampunk Stampede that our buddy runs down in McAllister, Oklahoma. We're not going to be there this year. We'll be there next year, because we're going to try to make sure these events don't fall on each other. And I got a little poll there, so I'm going to try that. But they're doing their event this year. It's a cool, fun event. This year, not only will we be at, I know on different computers and stuff, I'm pointing and nobody's seeing this. We're going to be at McConnellCon on Saturday, and then on Sunday we're doing the big gay market in Wichita, which happens once a year.
Another great event.
So we'll be there with some of our Ren Fair people, and a good friend of ours runs that. So I can't even remember why I brought all that up. Right away I was like, oh, I got to pimp these other events.
So we were asking about the boppers and what kind. So
boppers.
I was putting you guys inside because I didn't, one, the heat. I didn't want you to be suffering outside. But two, I knew you wouldn't be able to bring all your stuff out. So I figured just a little space for you guys to do some play type stuff would be great.
Yeah. And I was hoping to bring the ship back out again this year, but that takes a truck to pull too. And I got truck work to do. So
yeah,
all the real world behind the scenes stuff. But in your guys' cosplay room then, or you got a gaming room as well, because I believe TsunamiCon's going to be there doing gaming, right?
So TsunamiCon is going to bring their library back out for us. So Eric and I had a great conversation yesterday. I'm really excited to have them out again. He's got a couple of game runners that are our military folks who are going to help him out with running some demos during the day as well. We do have in the after hours party, we're doing a D&D one shot for some of our military folks.
Cool.
And then we have in the back room opposite of where the tabletop was, Arena Hobbies is going to be out doing a pre-release for the Magic the Gathering Final Fantasy deck that's coming out that weekend.
Oh, that's cool.
So they're going to be doing that tournament as well.
Yeah, because you guys had some Pokemon going last year, I think.
Yep.
But having Magic,
Pokemon trading.
My kids do Magic all the time here. And then I'm trying to think of what all else you guys had, because you had plenty, and I know you're going to have a couple cars there and stuff. And then, of course, in the room where Ash is going to be set up, we're going to have the Star Trek group, the Ghostbuster group, the 501st, the Blues Brothers, the Hive, or not? I can't remember.
So the Hive didn't make it out this year. I never actually got a response back from them. So if you have anybody you want to send my way, let me know. I think they'd be great to have out.
I'll definitely send you a couple things. There's both paid and unpaid performers who have sent me some stuff, but I figure this close to your event, it's always tough too. I'm still trying to get our event put together, and it's
exactly.
Man, I'm always behind. So
is the Kansas Cosplay Association going to be there? So
not that I'm aware of. So I have Sunflower State Cosplay. But if you know somebody from there, let me know.
All right.
Well, the Sunflower State, oddly enough, the guy who runs that is in both the Ghostbuster and Star Trek group. And
it was fun because when I went to the one here in town at the Century 2 back in March, I was obviously running into a lot of folks I'd already been talking to that some had reached out to me out of nowhere. I was meeting them for the first time. So he was actually at a Starfleet table then. And I know he's bringing out Sunflower State for himself this time around. And then I actually ran into another Starfleet group that I think they're not coming this year, but I don't know for sure. But all told, the Beowulf, are you familiar with them?
Yes. They are a separate group that is, they're a group that is branching off of the local Jeanette Maddox group. And they're going to be, which is a shame they're not going to be there, because their group is going to be more virtual. So, you can be anywhere and join the meetings and stuff like that.
Oh, that's cool.
that would be something I think that would get a lot of play with the Airmen.
Yeah.
But,
Well, and
yeah.
then another group that we picked up from there that I hadn't heard of was the adult Lego group that's out there. I told them about the event that we run, and they apparently have tons and tons of like military related Lego sets they want to bring out and showcase for us. So I'm thrilled, man. I think that's gonna be great.
Is that a Lego group out of Wichita? Because we worked with one out of Kansas City before, but is there one in Wichita doing it now?
Yeah, so I think they meet up at the Lego shop here in town. I don't want to speak out of turn, but I think they have their monthly meetings there. And then I'm working with a guy named Matthew from that group. So if you need information on them, I'll let you know.
Yeah, it might be. I mean, I think we're going to be pretty full for this year, but it's always good to know people out there, especially when you can send them to other people. And
Exactly.
yeah, and that's the thing a lot of people don't get sometimes. It's that like all the con heads. Eric is a great example. Like him and I work together a lot, and hell, we're going to be running some modeling contests and stuff for him at Tsunami just to do it. And people are like, well, what do you make off that? It's like, no, hang on, there's a difference, because some of this we do just to help each other out, to help the community grow as much as we can. Because like if your event does good and it helps Eric's event do good, which helps my event do good, which helps all that stuff, as long as everybody's not stepping on each other's toes. But every once in a while you'll get one of those events where you're just like, yeah, nobody wants to help that person out, you know?
Right.
But for the most part, that happens behind the scenes all the time. Everybody's like, oh, do you know a juggler? Yeah, I know a juggler. I know 3. Let me send you a couple and that kind of stuff. So,
well, and I've been so fortunate. Like I thought I was connected in this group before with a lot of the folks here locally, and I've kind of always been on the periphery, right? But putting this event on has really showcased that exact kind of mentality of like, we want to help you succeed, and I think that's been really fun to watch in action for trying to put on these 3 events. And then, like I told you before, with Eric's stuff, he picked up an Airman who's now helping him with TsunamiCon, and I'm like, I think that kind of synergy back and forth is amazing.
Yeah, and that's watching again. And I know we talk about TsunamiCon on this channel. That's another event that it's a crowd-funded convention that happens, and they really rely on the people. So it's kind of run a little different than a lot of other events too. And I don't want to say they struggle with that, but it's a lot of extra work.
Speaking of that, I wanted to bring up really quick. I saw that TsunamiCon just opened up their annual Kickstarter to go ahead and get tickets and fun for this year. So I wanted to put that out to everybody. TsunamiCon's live now. If you want to start getting your tickets and getting your VIP passes, plug for TsunamiCon. Here we go. Yeah.
I'm supposed to I was supposed to tell you about that, because I'm supposed to add you. There's a TsunamiCon group now where we're sharing all the new ideas, because since Mikey's not there this year, then everybody's like, well, here's some ideas we can do to fill the Mikey gap. And now everybody's coming with like just tons of ideas. So Eric said, let's do a group and let's see how many of these we can implement without, because there's always that curse of people want to do stuff and you let them and they do it for 1 year and then walk away. So we could have a whole bunch this year, and then the next year it looks like there's a lot less. So they're trying to plan it out. And I was going to add you that group since we're doing the model contest and the podcast and stuff there. So,
yeah.
Let's see. Tristan says, because it's a great con. I'm assuming that's Tsunami we're talking about.
Yeah, she loves Tsunami.
It says, that's the plan so far, Concast. As far as I know, Merrick is a good guy for Sunflower State. Yeah.
Yeah, and Merrick's who I've been talking to. So that's great.
Yeah, he's a cool dude. When I first met him, he was, and it's not me that helped him, everybody's helped him, but he was struggling to get a little recognition. And I think just like coming to these groups and stuff, because I was like, oh, well, let me introduce you. Like I introduced him to Richard right away, Richard Cathy, and a bunch of other people. And it's like, here's all you got to do is you just got to know who to talk to. Because if half these cons are charging you full booth fee for vending and you're just doing, cosplay.
Right.
So now I've seen that he's getting a lot. He's been out there contacting people and getting involved. So that's good to see.
That's great.
Yeah, he's a very enthusiastic dude. I hope the best for him.
See how easy it is just to talk a bunch of BS. We're 50 minutes in now.
Yeah.
So John, con-wise, is there anything you want to hit before I ask any other questions? Because I did want to go over at least the Harry Potter casting a little bit.
Yeah. So from my vantage point, I think we've covered a lot of it. So the big thing is like this is an event that we do rise and fall on the the generosity of people who are in the community, the connections that we can make with anybody who's out there. So if there's people who, and the other neat thing that we are doing this year, our cosplay contest, because we have so many great cosplayers who do join us out of the kindness of their heart and the free time that they're able to make for us, we wanted to give them a little bit more recognition. And so we actually added a guest cosplayer category to our, because right now the event is meant to be for the airmen and their families. So now there's a category for anybody who is one of our guests at the event. So it could be the Nightcrawler that was there last year. It could be somebody from the 501st. They can come cross stage, walk with us, and they'll be eligible for the prize for that category.
That's cool.
Yeah.
And what kind of prizes you got for categories in cosplay?
So
is that a surprise?
At bare minimum, we're going to have some really cool custom 3D printed trophies from our Arts and Crafts Center on base. So we did manage to make that happen.
So that's real cool to us. So
yeah. So, I mean, I think that's really awesome. The nice thing about the involvement from Air Force Services this year is the prize budget's a lot higher than it's ever been. So I will start saying that I'm probably going to go out this week and actually make the purchases for prizes, but somewhere in the realm of we have a group cosplay. I know the prize for that is going to be several gift certificates they can split amongst themselves, but like gift cards, trying to keep it simple. But then we also have been very lucky the last couple of weeks to have some donations from local shops. So in addition to any sort of cash value prizes that we may have, there's also going to be some kind of random goodies from the local shops as well, stuffed in with those.
I'm going to guess the borough jumped in on that.
We did get some support for the borough. Yep.
Give credit where credit's not due, but I always want to support those guys when I can because they treat us
Absolutely.
very nicely. All right. Well, having that said, I know there's a lot of stuff to cover just real quick in the next 10 minutes or so, but even though if you guys can't make it to the convention because it is on base, go ahead. When you see us share something, go ahead and share it because just getting the word out there, it's going to go out. Our friends that do photography, cosplay, vending, all that stuff, then they see it and they're like, oh, I didn't know about this event. Maybe I can get involved. We can get them more vendors, get them more connections, that kind of stuff. Because, we've got, especially when it's something like this, that's for a good cause and they've got some room to grow. Really, I think we should have every reenactment group in Wichita out there. I would love to have that like at our event. It just doesn't all fit in with anime.
Right.
So anytime we can get it, it's good to see. So do share.
I will say we do also have our Killian, the LARP group locally is coming out to our event as well. So I'm excited for them as well. Cool, I hope I'm saying that right. I've only seen it in print. I have no idea how to say it, but
yeah. Is that Sid and them guys, or is that I might be wrong. Who's running? Okay.
I've talked to a handful of people there, so
it's like half the dance groups, man. They change their names or people every year or two, and it's hard to remember who's in what and who's running what.
Exactly. So yeah, no, it's and if nothing else, if you want to get involved, this year we are getting kind of close to the wire. So 10 days out, that's about where I need to be for background checks. But if you want to get involved for future years, obviously reach out to us, or Beard is a great conduit for that as well.
I'll just send it to him. So
yeah, exactly. So I appreciate all you guys' support. I'm really excited to see you guys here in I think 10 days. So
yeah, we're excited. I told Johnny he's only gonna be on for 20 minutes, an hour later. But before you leave real quick, since you said you're a Harry Potter fan, there are only a couple things I wanted to mention on news before I talk about next week's episode being live at the Borough and we get off here. One is, Daryl, did you see Kelly had sent me information today? They're auctioning off the Anchor stuff. I know it's not convention related.
Jessica, because it's on her way to work, she's been going by. She called me this morning. She's like, "Oh my God, they have dumpsters out there, and they're just chucking stuff in the dumpsters." And I'm like, I don't want to hear it. Don't want to hear it. So they're auctioning it off.
So for those listening, the Anchor is one of our little favorite bar holes in Wichita. A lot of times when we do the podcast, when we're doing it downtown in the Lego studio there, we would go to the Anchor afterwards to eat supper. So we'd talk about that. And it's just a fun place. They'd offered to sell our wine before, different stuff, and now it's gone. So we're very sad about that.
Oh, speaking of wine, can we bring a couple bottles onto base to hand out to peoples? I mean, is that acceptable? Or am I coming in with cases of alcohol is going to be frowned on?
Let's talk offline about that. It's a conversation we can have, but I definitely want to run that through.
it should be had before I show up with it. Is my point.
Yeah.
100%. Yes.
The other two real quick things. We had trailers drop. We got the actual Spider-Man Noir trailer. They dropped a new official one. We're not going to have time to watch it tonight, but it is out. It's gotten good reviews. The new Fantastic Four trailer is out. It is short.
So excited.
And yeah, I am excited for the Fantastic Four a lot. We see a lot more of our Surfer in there. I'm still holding out hope that that's going to be the best Marvel movie of next year. That's just my thing. Last of Us, I just should calmly mention that they are getting raked across the coals, but I'm not caught up enough to have input on that one. So if anybody in chat wants to put input, I am fine with that. But lastly, the Harry Potter castings. So this week we got our golden trio. They announced Harry, Hermione, and redhead Ron. Thank you,
Ron Weasley.
And that's why I said John, stick on, because everybody on this channel knows Power Rangers and Harry Potter are my weak points. Just last year, I finally watched all the Harry Potter movies. Not that I dislike them. It wasn't in my wheelhouse. And I've interviewed people from Harry Potter, not known shit. So this time around, I'm trying to pay attention. I did see that, and I just found this out this week. I don't know how long ago they announced it, but I started paying attention with the trio. They had announced Nick Frost casting as
Hagrid,
and I am so in love with that.
That and Jonathan Lithgow.
Yeah, Jonathan Lithgow, one of my favorite actors. Anyway, those two are the best.
Although that does break J.K. Rowling's edict that none of the actors should be played by Americans. None of the characters should be played by Americans, and they're bringing in Lithgow, who is an American.
Was that an edict for this series? Do you know? Because I know that was the original.
I believe that was just in the original books. Was when she had the power to say that. I don't know if she still cares about that or whatnot, but I do know that back when those were being produced, that was the thing.
Well, I know she chimed in on casting this week, and she has been. I don't know if she's making bank off of it or what. She's been pretty on board with all the casting.
Yeah.
But also in recent years, multiple people hate her for, if political reasons. So, but with the casting, they did cast a biracial Hermione. Yeah. And honestly, seeing her, she looks more the part than I thought she would.
And correct me if I'm wrong. They went with the black Hermione for Cursed Child. Am I right? The Broadway, or not the Broadway, but the English show.
I know about that show, but I didn't see the casting or controversy behind that.
So I think that they're kind of following in that tradition with this casting a little bit, and I think I'm really happy with it. I do think it's interesting that the one character that we know for a fact is based on J.K. Rowling herself, that they want to do that with. But I think I'm all for it. I think it's great.
I didn't know that was based on her herself, because I did see her comment where she came out and supported that. It says kinky hair in the book and everything, but at no point does it say she's specifically white. And so J.K. Rowling is on board or, promoting that. But then the problem being is perhaps she's not the best person to support it, because then everybody came out and goes, oh, that bigoted, whatever. So then it's like, oh, guys, or anybody that can come out and say it's okay, or is this, are Potter fans pissed off about this? Because that's what I hear is it's Potter fans. But then when I watch an interview, it's some dude that looks like me.
Right. So it's challenging, right? So like you've got the people who are book fans, you got the people who are movie fans. I think the ones. So I just right before we got on the con or on the cast, my daughter and I were looking at the cast. She hadn't seen them yet, and she was like, "Why are they even remaking it?" She grew up with these. They were 8 years into making the movies when she was born, and she's like, "I don't see the point of redoing it." I don't think there's any issues with the casting itself. I think they look like the characters enough to pass. I think the question is, what will they do with the series? I always thought it would be a really great, like, season by season anime, like do it with like some really great, like flashy, like cool effects to really get that wizardry. But I think it's time for a reboot. Probably we'll watch these kids grow up for the next 12 years.
Yeah. And I can tell you why they did it. It's money. 100%.
Yeah, well,
it's
exactly
money.
why.
Yeah.
No, but as long as, because basically, from what I understand, correct me if I'm wrong, but from what I understand, what they're doing is they're just fleshing this out into a series. So instead of where the books and the movies hit the high points of the academic year, this will go more into the nuanced and more flesh out the characters, which is great. But my thing is they can't do what every other prequel and every other freaking remake has done, which is break canon and bring things in before they were supposed to be brought in, revelations before revelations were supposed to be had, because then that is what, I mean, there's so much of that world for them to play with. They should play with the world, but not break, the canon. And then if they do that, if they can do that where it's not messing with established lore, then bully for them, go for it, have fun.
The movie's broke enough of the canon that I think we've all had enough of that, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So I mean, they do a fine job of getting the story across. I think the issue that you have with the series in particular, though, is that the first 3 books are written very much at a child reading length. It's really great school books. And then between 1997 and 2000, she wrote the huge tome that is Goblet of Fire. And I think suddenly there's a million more details to try to fit into the same quality or quantity of season for a show. So while you're dragging out certain plot lines for seasons 1 through 3, now you've got a lot to fit in. So unless they're going to change like the lengths of the seasons as the books get longer, I don't know how to approach that still.
Well, see, and they have to be mindful of that, because one thing we all know about these child actors, they grow.
Yeah.
So this is a regular Harry Potter conversation about the books and the story, because normally when I bring up Harry Potter, I get a lot of, you don't love Harry Potter? What's wrong with you, man? And that's the
well,
focus.
you notice that we're having this conversation without you.
I'm interested. That's why I'm interested. Because I've said it a million times. The thing got me interested in Harry Potter was the video game. There was such a world building, and I went and stayed doing that show in St. Louis. Stayed with Jake, and they were playing the video game. So I sat there for a day, just learning Harry Potter lore, and they were showing me stuff at Hogwarts and all this stuff. And I'm like, in my head, you're going like, this would make great movies,
Well, if
apparently
you want to get into that even
somebody
more,
agree with you.
Try doing the Harry Potter Lego games.
I have not.
Yeah.
So those were great. The first Harry Potter Lego game was truly phenomenal. Like, it really captured the spirit of it, and like it's so goofy. Like the Lego movies in general, or the Lego games in general, are so like silly, but I still like somehow connected with it emotionally, playing through it. I was like, they were great.
Now I'm not going to put you on the spot, because it would be asking a stupid political question like, do you have problems with these castings? However, I will ask you, what is your favorite casting from the new show?
Snape. I you know what?
Did they cast him already? I didn't realize that one.
They cast Snape, and people are pissed because he's a black man. I don't know the actor's name.
That's right, they did. We talked about that on here.
And you know what? I'm all for it. Like I it's not that I'm promoting colorblind casting, but I like to see interesting new takes on stories. I'm not here to be faithful to one version of it. The reason I liked the Harry Potter movies for this reason is you went from Christopher Columbus doing the first 2 films to Alfonso Cuarón doing movie 3, and they are totally different tones and takes on that series. And I want that. Same for the Marvel movies. We talked about, whatever the Fantastic Four, we're excited about that too. And I'm interested in seeing a 1960s kind of campy take on the Fantastic Four, because I love letting the directors and the people who are creating this art put their spin and their take and give it a new nuance.
As long as they don't run it into the ground. Like, I do feel that Fantastic Four, the last one we got, to me, that just, they phoned it in so bad.
Sure.
But then I watched The Incredibles, and I'm like, it was a Fantastic Four movie.
That was the best Fantastic Four movie they ever made. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. No, but I have to say that when I first watched the first trailer for the new Fantastic Four, until I saw Pedro Pascal on there, I seriously thought it was something somebody put together with AI. Because I was like, this is so campy. This has got to be AI.
Now, in fairness, that first trailer, I believe it was a D23 or San Diego Comic-Con, but I think it was D23 that they did. And they literally just put that together. Like some of it was AI. That very first trailer, some of it was
right.
They were trying to get something out for the convention, so it was literally like behind the scenes cobbled together crap. So if that's one you saw, yeah, it was.
That could have been the reason it tripped my my AR trigger. AI
Kristen
trigger.
says, hate the artist, but love the art. Talking Harry Potter, of course. No one can live up to Rickman's take on Snape, so would have to go off canon. You know, there are so many iconic characters like that. Everybody says about Heath Ledger with the Joker, and Heath Ledger did a great Joker. As long as somebody doesn't try to do what he did, I think you can have another good person as Joker. The worry sometimes is when people think that in Hollywood. James Bond's a great example. Like we had Timothy Dalton, who made a good James Bond, but he was a filler James Bond, so they gave him all the shit scripts, you know. So they don't always give him a chance because they were just waiting for Pierce Brosnan to come in. So you see that even with some of the Marvel movies where they're like, oh, I know this is going to be filler until we, you know, recast and stuff. And I feel like that's where we are with Marvel movies too. So as long as they don't try to be Rickman again, we're fine. Like he doesn't impersonation.
We are at an hour 6.
Yeah,
and
we got to get
that you had a hard stop with the babysitter.
I do. So first off, Jon, thank you for coming on. It was good chatting with you.
Thank you for having me.
So McConnellCon is Saturday, June 7th of next month here in Wichita. If you guys want information, we'll be putting links up on the podcast website, or not website, but the Facebook page. On June 8th, the WAGs, we will be at the Big Gay Market. So you guys can come out there in Wichita and see us as well. We're going to be doing shows with the Sunflower Siren and some of the fairy groups. Then the 21st, 22nd in Topeka, we'll be at the Topeka Renaissance Festival, doing smoker and regular shows. And of course, 27th, 28th, and 29th here in Wichita, we have Anime Festival of Wichita. So there's your June. Come out, see us, have a good time. And then also, most important of all those, except for, you know, support our cons, Jon's and mine. We will be at the Borough next Wednesday doing the relaunch for the podcast on June 4th. We're going to put up an event page. Please, everybody used to come to see the shows, come out there. We'll probably hit dinner afterwards or something. It's going to be a live show. Cookie's going to be there. We're just going to have some friendly debate, no real guests or anything. I know I've got we're going to talk a little bit about the Death Star being flat, things like that. So come on.
NASA check, it's round. Sorry, go ahead.
On the 4th, and support the Borough because they support us. Done. All right. Having that said, thanks for coming, Jon. We will see you in 2 weeks, week and a half, if nothing else.
Yeah, sounds great. Thanks, guys.
All right.
Thank you.
Boom.